Join today's live session, friends. Join today's live session. Come on in. Come on in. Let's see if this is working. Come on in. Join today's live session. And as you're coming on board, say freedom now. Freedom now. All right. So I am live. Welcome, friends. Today is Monday, May 20th. Come on in and say freedom now. If you are watching from outside of the New York area, let me know. Type in the city, state that you're in. And also, if you're in another country, okay? If you're in another country, let me know which country you're in as well. Freedom now, freedom now. I think, yes, I'm live. Perfect. Come on in, friends. Today, we're going to have our Q&A session. But let's see. There we go. I see that folks are coming in now. All right. We're going to have a Q&A. All right. Come on in. Hey there, Jim Pedgy. Nice to see you. Hey there, Ali. Just come on in and be respectful and just say hello. Say hello and how you're feeling today. And freedom now, freedom now. Sonia from our team is moderating. So she's in the chat. She's in the comments. Okay. So Sonia is going to be answering some questions today as well about our office and how to get started with us. Freedom now, freedom now. I see Kentucky is in the house. Hey there, Orlando Brown. Nice to see you. Verona, thank you. Freedom now. Kimberly, Joanne. Hey there, Joanne. Paulette, thanks so much. Guys, we are an immigration law firm, and we work with clients nationwide and across the globe at McBean Law. Reach out to us today, 888-462-4006 for an appointment with an attorney. There are several attorneys at our firm. They're all excellent and knowledgeable. You can read our reviews and see what other people have thought about us. Also go to mcbeanlaw.com/success so that you can read our success stories, okay? We had a terrific story yesterday that we published to our subscribers about a DACA recipient who was able to adjust her status and get her green card after she traveled outside of the United States and obtained that lawful entry and such. But guys, you know, at McBean Law, we believe in results and we believe in freedom. So type in freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to our newsletter, you can subscribe very easily on our website at mcbeanlaw.com/subscribe. And Sonia is going to put that link here too. You want to subscribe because each week we send out Q&As, immigration news on Fridays, Sundays, good news stories, and we send terrific content on Thursday nights as well, our blogs, our weekly blogs. So there's so much that we're sharing here at McBean Law. If you'd like to see all of our free resources, just go on our website, mcbeanlaw.com/free, and that's where you'll be able to download some free materials. So today, again, Monday, live Q&A, I'm going to take a look at some of the questions that you guys have and answer your questions over the next half an hour. Now, let's see. Freedom now. Hey there, Junaid, Jermaine. Hey. Dominican Republic is in the house. Thank you so much for being with me. New Jersey, Philadelphia, Florida, all over. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a question from Vishwani. My mom is a green card holder and she sponsored me in 2018. I'm in the United States. Can I do adjustment of status or can I get a work permit? So with a green card holder parents sponsoring, I'm assuming, Vishwani, you're over, I don't know your age. I don't want to assume too much, but it sounds like you're an adult. And and you're here in the United States, do you have lawful status today? That's really the question. If you're in lawful status and your priority date is current through your mom, you will be able to adjust your status, provided that, number one, you have lawful status today, and number two, you do not have any unauthorized employment on your record. Here in the U.S., you did not work without work papers. That's what the government will be looking at, in addition to whether you have lawful status or not. Thanks for that question. Freedom Now. Hey, Mike, thanks for being with me. Rohan in Jamaica, thank you. Thank you. Isa is asking, do I have any news on the spousal parole in place? What Isa is talking about there is the fact that the Biden administration is being pushed to adopt some policies that they have control over, such as allowing U.S. spouses of U.S. citizens to obtain parole, which would allow them to also obtain a work permit. And this particular strategy by the administration is something that that is being discussed along with Border Patrol strategies this year, this election season. I don't have any update on that. I don't know how close they are to something like this. I'm reporting out to you guys about the news on Friday evenings, usually between 5 and maybe 6:30 p.m. You can catch me on Fridays, and certainly subscribe to our newsletter to stay in the loop with that news as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Is there a number to contact us? Yes. Sonia has our number pinned there. It's 888-462-4006. Thank you so much. Let's go back up here to some of your some other questions. Kimberly says that my husband went for an interview in El Salvador. He was denied and sanctioned 10 years. Kimberly, he needs to meet with an immigration lawyer. We could have a discussion with him about why they did not issue him his visa, his immigrant visa, to come back to the United States, why he was denied, and also if there is a waiver to get him back to the United States. Folks should not leave the U.S. for an embassy process without first going through a screening with an immigration lawyer to ensure that they have a clean record. What sometimes happens is that they're here, they've had multiple entries. Some people have multiple unlawful entries, I should say, and then they are going through a green card process, leave the U.S. to go overseas, and then they learn that they might be permanently barred and cannot return to the United States because of previous unlawful entries, multiple unlawful entries without inspection. We will dig deeper, Kimberly, to find out what's going on, and if there's a way to bring him back to the U.S., we will discuss that with you and with him. So reach out to us for an appointment. Let's see. Thank you so much. Hey there, Mel. Nice to see you. Thank you. Ricardo says, what are the chances to get adjustment of status approved without 245I? So, Ricardo, you'd have to meet the eligibility requirements for adjustment of status based on whatever category you fall under, whether it's a family process or an employment process. You've already mentioned Section 245I, which is an old amnesty section, which does work for some people, and we've had success with that section as well, and we love doing that if we could find an opportunity to do that for folks. But you'd have to get your case, your background looked at by an immigration lawyer to find out to determine whether you're eligible to adjust your status in the United States. Hey there, Sakna. Thanks for being with us from Ohio. Friends, I just want to advise you not to spam us, because if you do spam, Sonia is going to remove you, put you in a little timeout so that you will not be able to spam. Lowen's is asking, how long does it take for I-130 to be approved? Lowen's, it really all depends on your category and whether you're seeking adjustment of status here in the U.S. or whether you're outside of the country and doing a two-step process. And also I think I mentioned category, right? Go on USCIS's website to see what the government is working on locally, the timeline, or you can, if you're going through a consular process because you're overseas, look at the visa bulletin to check your category. If your category is not on the visa bulletin because you're an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, again, it will depend on it will depend on your country at that point, truly, with the embassy and if there is a backlog at the U.S. embassy there. Generally speaking, immediate relatives who are going through a green card process to bring an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen who is overseas, typically it's about a year and change, but it all depends on the embassy that is looking at your case as well. more information is needed, certainly, to answer the question fully. I don't know. Love is asking about Islamabad. I don't know how long it's taken these days for Islamabad. We've had we've done an expedite, and I believe it's on our website, Success Stories, with a client whose case we were able to expedite his wife to bring her here early. Well, not early. We want folks to come here as soon as possible, but some embassies, like Islamabad, tends to be a little slow. But if you're eligible for an expedite, I think an expedite request is the way to go with an embassy like Islamabad. I don't know how long it's taken off the top of my head. Let's see, what else do you have for me? Type in freedom now, and where you're watching from. Someone says, I'm over 21 and my father petitioned for me. He is a U.S. citizen and my papers are documentarily qualified. Could I come to the United States to adjust my status? Jermaine is asking. So Jermaine, the process that if your priority date is current, which means a visa is now available for you, and you have never worked in the United States without authorization, and you're here on a visitor's visa, and you decide, well, you're going to change your mind, then first you might be eligible at that point to adjust your status. Change your mind with respect to leaving, okay? That's what I'm referring to. So it might be possible, but if you come as a visitor and you do not have a visa available to you yet, then you're not eligible to just switch the process and adjust your status. Freedom now. Thank you. Let's see. Someone is asking, do I think if Trump wins, will he bring back the law of public charge? The law of public charge is public charge is part of our system, our immigration system. What has changed is Biden had pulled back on the harshness of the policy, the public charge policy under the Trump years. Absolutely, I think Trump is going to bring that back, maybe even worse. Absolutely, yes. Yes to everything. Yes to everything related to what Trump did when he was in office during those 4 years. Yes, plus some. So, yeah, okay. Now, let's see. And if you're an undocumented immigrant, I do not think it's a good idea for you to access public benefits in the United States at all. I don't think that you should do that. Any word on the 60, where things are with the lawsuit with regard to the 601A? I have not heard any news on that, Sunny. What's the future for TPS holders? It depends on your country. It's hard to get rid of TPS, particularly for some countries. I don't have any updates with respect to any individual country right now. The government makes that policy decision based on the conditions in a person's country. If the conditions persist to be, like really bad, bad conditions there, well, TPS will continue. But if things really improve drastically, well, then the government has a right at that point to end TPS. Still a very hard thing for them to do, and they've done it before for other countries, but it really depends on the country conditions. Thank you. Freedom now. Let's see. Someone says, Antonio is asking, I filed for a 601A. I had a motion to terminate removal proceedings granted by the judge with an I-130 and something or another, terminate. Could USCIS adjudicate my case faster, or it doesn't matter? So here you have someone who is in a process, well, he was in removal, no longer in removal because the motion to terminate was granted, which is a great thing. And so USCIS has jurisdiction fully to finish a process for him. But it looks like for him, he is slated for a consular process, which means he's going to leave the United States and go to an embassy abroad. The 601A these days is taking 3 to 4 years for approval, unless this lawsuit really helps to speed things up. On our end here at McBean Law, we've been seeing our 601A approvals come in for 2020. the batch from 2020 are now being approved, and we're seeing them back to back. And so we're thinking, is it because of the lawsuit why all of a sudden we're getting these approvals now? Could be. I don't know. I don't work for the government, and I have no idea whether that's the case or not. Let's see. Let's keep going. Freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. If one is in the country with after winning the green card lottery and you're here without lawful status, I see Yakub is asking a question about that. If you're here in the U.S. and you win the green card lottery, and you're out of status, you will not be able to get the green card. Most people will not be able to get the green card because you will be ineligible to adjust your status here in the U.S. and finish that process here if you're out of status. If you're thinking, well, I could just go back home and interview at the embassy for that visa before that September 30th deadline. Well, yes, you can. You can perhaps do that if you had if you had a waiver that was approved before you left America. Because if the waiver is not filed before you left and it approved before you left, well, you will face unlawful presence bar to return into America. And for most people, this just absolutely will not work at all because it takes, like I said earlier, 3 to 4 years to be approved for the waiver that's needed. So unfortunately, this winning the lottery here in the U.S. out of status won't work. If you're in status, you have a good visa that has that provides you with the in status that you need, then yes, you could adjust your status. All right. Freedom now, freedom now. Hey there, Sharu. Chantel, thank you so much. Chantali is asking if your RFE is 89%, is that a good look? I'm not sure what you mean by 89%. How did you put a percentage on your request for evidence? You may elaborate further, okay? Addis Ababa is also very slow. It's not fast, right? Okay. Let's see. Thank you very much. Freedom now, freedom now. Someone says, my priority date is November 2010. Mom, file for me. I'm also married now. How long will the wait be? Well, you started with this process as a single person, and now you're married. So now you're in that F3 category. So the wait for that one is based on the visa bulletin. Let me see if I could pull up the June 2024 visa bulletin. Just Google that as well so that you're in the clear. Find your country on the chart A, final action dates, and March 2010 for most countries, and then other countries like Mexico, it's December 99, Philippines 02. So figure out which country you're in and see how close you are with this. But let's see. So you're, depending on which country you're in, you're getting closer, all right? But you're in the F3 category at this point. Thank you guys for being with me. It's nice to see you, the new people who have joined. Thank you for being here. Freedom Now, type in Freedom Now. Let me know how you're feeling. Thank you so much. Thank you. And if you're a subscriber to this, if you're not a subscriber to this channel, subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first to get notice of these videos each week. Someone is asking about joining the military. Check out their requirements to see whether you meet the requirements for joining the U.S. Army. Thank you. Someone said, let's see. Someone says, I was granted withholding of removal 20 years ago. I'm still on work authorization. So withholding of removal, we haven't published this testimony yet because it's some aspects of it is still in works. But we helped a client recently to reopen her withholding of removal case, a very old case, and she's been in the U.S. since the 1980s. And we got the approval not from ICE because ICE said we don't want to help her. So we said, okay, fine. Well, we'll just go to the immigration judge, which is the hardest thing to do. And we went to the court and the judge approved it. So we were able to get this withholding of removal case, the removal case reopened so that she may apply for cancellation of removal. So in order for you to move from withholding to something else, you must absolutely be able to reopen the old removal case. You have to be able to prove that a reason why that you have a pathway to a green card now, and in a very convincing way. And if you're able to do that, then you'll be able to get a 10-year green card. Thank you very much. Hey there, Fazal. You're welcome. Thank you for being with me today. Let's see. What else? Let me go back up here a little bit. Thank you for your time, your patience today, guys. It's good to see you again. By the way, I will not be on next Monday. We're going to be on holiday. Okay, so I will not be on live with you Monday, May 27th. I will be live with you on Friday, May 24th, this Friday, for an immigration news summary session, and then I'll be back for a Q&A on June, is that June? Yeah, June 3rd, Monday, June 3rd, okay, will be our next live Q&A session. So I want to get that out there for you so that you'll know. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Someone says, let's go down here. I received my medical RFE after interview in 2020. So it sounds like maybe the RFE that you had submitted the medical that you submitted previously may have expired. You were interviewed in 2020. You received a request for evidence recently for your medical. It sounds like they're getting ready to do something, make a decision on your case after all this time. So I wish you well with whatever that decision is. Someone says, VAWA, can I file without getting my U.S. citizen child in trouble? Somewhat Jada is asking here. So Jada, have I ever seen, personally speaking, professionally speaking, when I say personal, I also mean professional, obviously, right? I've never seen the adult U.S. citizen spouse abuser, nor the adult U.S. citizen son or daughter get in trouble when there has been a VAWA case, when a VAWA domestic violence case is filed against that individual, or pulls that person in as the abuser. Where it really becomes a problem is when children are involved and the reporting process of children who are abused, right? That's when higher authorities get involved in that type of case, but not so if you're reporting abuse by your adult U.S. citizen son or daughter. Freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. You guys have some great questions today. Some very good questions. Thank you. Spousal visa, how long it takes. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. This is a South Africa process. When I say South Africa process, it's going to go through the U.S. Embassy. I don't know off the top of my head how long it's going to take to process your case out of South Africa Embassy. Let's see, freedom now. What to do when a judge has dismissed my case. VAWA is 37 months in USCIS. Okay. What do you do when a judge has dismissed your immigration case? Well, if you have a process, and by the way, it's a good thing to be dismissed or terminated so that you can get out of court and not have that on your shoulders, not unless the only way to get a green card is through an immigration judge. But if you're out of court, this person sounds like they also have a VAWA case pending. So I wish you well with having USCIS finish your process, your green card process. Thank you. I don't think K3 helps. We don't work on K3 visa in our office, okay? But I don't think generally it's faster. That's something that many of us immigration lawyers actually talk about these days. All right? Thank you. Abdul says, I was denied a couple of days ago after Stokes' interview with my wife, and the denial was based on INA 245 section and was legally admitted to the country, well, scrutinized before coming in. I think there's some, well, I'm not sure what your question is, Abdul. I'm sorry to know that you've been denied. You were denied after the second interview with your spouse. If you would like, you and your spouse would like to discuss whether there's a way forward, we'd be happy to speak with you about that, okay, to find out what really led to this denial. Why were you even called back in for a Stokes interview? And how did the government treat you? Did they treat you fairly? Did they look at everything you gave them? Did they weigh things properly? Or did they just look at one little thing and say, gotcha, gotcha, we're going to deny you. Marriage fraud, 204C finding. That's what they do for some people. We can go deeper with you to find out what happened there and if there's a way forward with a refiling or not, okay? So hang in there. I'm sorry to hear that your case was denied. Someone says, is it true that you do not have to be married to a U.S. citizen to file for VAWA if you live in Alabama? So the state has nothing to do with anything with federal immigration law like VAWA, the VAWA provisions. It doesn't have anything to do with it. So long as you were married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder and that person abused you, and I'm honing in only on the spouse because that's what she's asking here, Mary is asking here. Next, let's see. Freedom now. Okay, the questions are coming in fast. Green card holder, many years it takes to send an unmarried son. It's several years for the green card process. Check the visa for adults who are going through the green card process through a green card holder parent. Let's see. Kwame, thanks for the question, says, I have been in the U.S. for 10 years with 2 U.S. citizen children and my wife. My wife and I are from Sierra Leone. We were on TPS during Ebola. Now, Sierra Leone is a good country example of when TPS goes away, because TPS went away for that country because the crisis ended. So he had TPS during Ebola, which means that he also has a Social Security card too and a work permit from that period of time. Any pathway to get a green card? Well, Kwame, it's going to depend on it. How old are your children? When one of them reaches 21, one of them might be able to file for you and your wife, and you could do adjustment of status easily, hopefully, through one of your children, okay? I don't know about these percentages, Chantel, with the RFE. If you want to go one-on-one with us to help us to understand what you mean by 95% approved versus 89%, I don't even know how relevant that is to your situation. So have a meeting if you have a case pending and there's an RFE that was issued, and so that we can learn what is in that RFE, okay? Hey there, Leroy. Leroy says, bless up from Alabama. Awesome. Thank you. For Andrea says, for I-130 application, should letters from family and friends be notarized? They could be notarized, or they could be written under, a statement that declares that that the information is true and correct under the penalty of perjury. They could have some sort of language like that, notarized. I think we ask for notarized. I don't even remember whether we do or not. I think we do. But sometimes it's fine to submit a letter with just that statement. It doesn't have to be notarized. That statement declaring that it's under the penalty of perjury is fine too. How can you apply for cancellation of removal? Lisa is asking. If you're in removal, Lisa, and you're eligible for it, you've been here for at least 10 years, you have certain relatives, you have a pretty decent background, then it's possible to ask for it through the judge. A very exciting proposal, and I talked about this in one of my last videos, live sessions, news sessions, I think maybe 2 sessions ago. Very exciting proposal that is really being pushed now is that cancellation of removal should be available to people who are not in removal, who are not in immigration court. So the Biden administration actually took some steps towards moving this along. And so I'm watching that. And if it does go into effect, very exciting news. It could open up the pathway for so many people. So stay tuned for something like that. Okay, thank you. I'm going to have to jump off momentarily, guys. I have my consultations starting very soon. Thank you for that, Salmon. Thank you for being with me. Freedom Now, Freedom Now. Our office is open, guys, until 6 o'clock tonight. Starting next week, I think. Is it next week? I think so. Starting next week, where our phones are going to be open 8 to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So you'll be able to do you'll be able to book your consultations, call, leave messages for your legal team, and other things like that. Starting next week, our phone line will be open from 8 to 8. Okay, so that's very exciting. Freedom Now. If married to a green card holder and has in the past filed, takes a citizen, is there absolutely no chance of getting a green card? If married to a green card holder and has in the past, Kinderprise, I'm not sure what you're asking there, and has in the past, has in the past filed, takes a citizen, is there absolutely no chance of getting a green card? Before I ever say that there's no chance of ever getting a green card, Enterprise, I have to know more about you, know more about your situation. I'm not sure what happened there. You're married to a green card holder. There might be some things holding you up there. Book a consultation to go deeper with us, okay? Let's see, Freedom Now. Let's see. Can you explain, Geronimo says, can you explain joint motion to reopen? Geronimo, is that a process that you and your lawyer are going through right now, or something that you're seeking on your own? The joint motion to reopen process is a prosecutorial discretion. It's just a motion, okay? It is what it says, so to speak, a motion that is filed with an immigration court, asking that an old removal case, or one in which a judge had either issued a removal order or someone accepted voluntary departure, but they never left the United States, so then that converted to a removal order. It's a process of going to ICE and asking for them to join. That's where you get the joint part, join you in this pursuit of reopening your case. So it is a motion, and in that motion, one has to argue some good things about their immigration history and their life, and some other things like that the government is looking for to determine whether they should help you or not. The government, the ICE, DHS looks at your A file, your alien file, to see what's on it, to see whether yours is a case that they should work with or not. If you need help with that, we're really, we've done so many of those, and we really enjoy helping people with reopening their old case. Okay, thanks so much for being with me, guys. I'm going to have to jump off. I have my consultation starting in a few minutes. Okay, thanks for being with me. Again, reach out to us at McBean Law, 888-462-4006. I will be back before you on Friday to go through immigration news between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern Time. There will not be a live Q&A next week, Monday. We will be on holiday that day, but I will be back for a live Q&A on June 3rd, Monday, June 3rd at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.